So, Kelly, you mentioned some of the challenges growing up that you experienced, obviously before your diagnosis. You able to say a bit more about that? What was life like for you in school, and then maybe moving through to leaving school and into the workplace?
I guess it's difficult to describe a feeling, but I did feel sort of on the edge of people, not quite understanding how the social world operated, not quite understanding my peers. So, as I say, it's really difficult to encapsulate how that feels. You watch how people operate, and what I did was I copied them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't necessarily feel the need to fit in,
Mm-hmm.
but at an intellectual level, I knew I needed to. So what I would do is I would definitely copy what other people did. I know when you're younger, you sort of copy one another's fashions, that type of thing. But it was at a deeper level, I think, that I sort of copied people, sort of assimilated into their kind of personalities even. Especially if I had a friend. I'd have a group of friends, but I would probably more so sort of have one sort of stronger friendship. And on reflection, I noticed I did used to sort of even copy the tone of their speech, their language, their facial expression. So I did really copy people a lot. And that's on reflection now. I sort of remember my mum once saying, "Oh, don't do that silly expression with your face like your friend." And so reflecting on that now, I think I must have tried really hard to be like other people.
Mm-hmm.
I would watch obviously television programs, read books, and try to make myself what I felt at that time was more normal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't feel as though I really fit in. Didn't really understand those social rules so much. And again, not bothered about peer pressure. Absolutely not bothered. You know, if people, when you're younger, people say, "Oh, do you want a cigarette? Do you want to smoke? Do you want to drink?" Wasn't bothered about it at all. Didn't feel the need to fit in that regard. Because at that time, I really had that, even at that time, I had a strong sense of rules and social justice. So it was very much, no, I shouldn't be smoking or I shouldn't drink. So I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to be pressured into do that either. And sometimes I guess people would find that really difficult, but I just pushed back. So as much as I wanted to fit in, I also had that strong sense of, no, that this is what's right.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do anything that's wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was difficult. I didn't ever want to miss school because I liked going to school in that routine, and I felt as though if I missed something, it would put me at a disadvantage. So I think one example might be when my dad had a cricket tournament, and Mum said, "Would you like to come? I'll phone school and tell them you're not very well." And I said, "Oh no. I need to go to school." So, which is really probably quite odd. Most children would have said, "Oh yes, go on then." But yeah, school was difficult. I guess I didn't make friendships very easily, but I did try really hard. I often felt on the periphery, but
And what you've described, I suppose, is what a lot of autistic women describe, isn't it? And we call that masking, where you closely observe the behaviours of others and adopt a lot of that to seemingly fit in.
Yeah.
Did that continue then for you, the masking kind of through school and into adult life?
I'd say so. And again, you understand these phrases more when you've had your diagnosis and you have that understanding of what you've done to cope. And certainly I can see that as something I've done throughout my life. Assimilated into others, copied what you would say normal behaviour or neurotypical behaviour, especially in the workplace. I've always found it I've had to sort of temper my personality. I can come across as again not neurotypical, so I've had to kind of try and put that mask on to be able to develop in the workplace, to be able to develop socially. So, you know, I really have to temper my personality, and sometimes I can get too close to people, even though I don't like physical touch, but not necessarily that understanding of those personal boundaries of being too close to people, saying things that are inappropriate, you know, joking. I use laughter a lot. I try to make people laugh because I feel it connects me to them. And if they're laughing with me, they're connected to me. But I have to be mindful not to do that too much, especially in a professional setting. And as much as I do feel like I value my individuality, I do still want to connect with people, but I don't know how to. So if I'm making them laugh, they like me and I'm connecting with them. And but I can get into a cycle of that, so I need to know where to draw the line, as it were. So yeah, it's tough and it's exhausting. It's really tiring. So you sort of can finish your working day, or you can come away from a social event and you can think, oh, that's it. I've done a lot of peopling now. That's my peopling done. My social battery's out. I can just get back to me and you know.
And doing that over many, many years must be, like you've just described, physically, mentally exhausting. Does it impact your mental health then, or has it done over the years?
I think it has. I think when you don't feel quite accepted, you can feel on the periphery. You can feel anxious about social settings as well. So very much, if I'm going out, if there's people I don't necessarily know as well, it does raise that anxiety. I'm more comfortable in certain settings and with certain people, and then that's okay. I'm more comfortable now that I have my diagnosis, because I don't feel as though I have to mask. So if we think of that unmasking, I don't feel as though I've got to present Kelly in this certain way, in this neurotypical way. You know, people have always said words like quirky and, you know, that type of thing. And if I'm quirky, that's great. And I accept that now and I celebrate it. So, yeah, but when I do have to mask at work, especially, at the end of the day, I'm absolutely exhausted and I need to decompress for a while, and I might even need to go and have a lie down. Just exhaustion hits. And people don't always understand that, especially in the work setting. They don't appreciate and realise how much effort it takes for me to present, you know, in the way that I do. Because I do have a job that requires a high level of professionalism and expertise. And to keep myself focused all day, it's really hard. It's not easy. And people don't always appreciate then autism as a dynamic disability, so that one day I can be on the top of the world, absolutely fine. I can cope with things, but other days I'm exhausted and it takes a lot. And again, that's the same with my skill set. So I might be able to complete a really complex task, and people then view me, if you think about autism as a spiky profile, they view me as very intelligent, I've got aptitude, but then there might be a really simple task that I find too difficult. It's too practical and it's overwhelming because it involves liaising with a lot of people, let's say, and last minute change, and it feels insurmountable to me. So give me something really complex, brilliant. Something very simple, might have a meltdown.
Yes. So having the diagnosis then helps you understand that kind of profile, and it sounds like, does it help you to advocate for yourself a bit more now?
Yes, definitely self-advocating, and also trying to explain to people and remind them, you know, just to remind you that this is a task I do find really difficult. Despite my aptitude in different areas, this is something. So, for example, we might have a rota, an issue with the rota and enough staff coverage, and that might happen at the last minute because of staff illness.
Yeah.
That would potentially send me into a meltdown, because that means I've got to liaise with lots of different managers, look at lots of different rotas, try and get people to come and cover. I feel the massive sense of responsibility, and it can be crushing. But give me a 12,000 word dissertation, and I'm happy as Larry. I can sit there. But then that's the beauty of having a team, though, is that you can look at who's got the strengths in the team.
Yes.
You know, and again, try to advocate and say, look, this is something I find really difficult. You know, although people are still puzzled, why can't you do that?
Yeah.
That's really simple.
Surprising to them.
Yeah, absolutely.